I'm not going to make the same mistake I made a couple of days ago when I unpacked too many. So this time around, I'm going to unpack just one. And the fragrance is called Ishq. What does Ishq mean? Oh, it means love. It's an Arabic word meaning love or passion. That's not very helpful. So is it love or passion? Or passionate love? Also widely used in other languages of the Muslim world and the Indian subcontinent. It's a beautiful bottle. What interested me in Ishq is the note of nagarmotha or cypriol oil. Cypriol oil is found in a number of fragrances that I've been interested in getting. It's in Sundowner by Tower. It's in Leatherized from DS and Virga, which was intended to be layered upon fragrances that you want to leatherize. And it's in Opus 13, Silver Oud from Amouage. It's also in probably my favorite opus from Amouage, Opus 7. It's in Reckless Leather. Now it's been something like 5 minutes and this is really good. It has saffron and rose. Saffron at the top along with pepper and then rose, sage and carnation in the heart. This is very well blended and nothing quite sticks out. And yet you feel the presence of all the notes. I think the cypriol oil, the nagarmotha, is really peeking through quite strongly from the base, and that's what gives it great interest. You also, and this has just been 5 minutes, you also already get a leather, and it's the old school leather, not the Tom Ford leather. One thing I love about Ishq is that it is unmistakably Mid-Eastern. I'm not cultured enough or well-traveled enough to really make a distinction between Mid-Eastern and Arabic, but that it's coming from that tradition is very apparent and clear, and also beautiful. After a month of Western designers and Western-ish fragrances, then you kind of, well, that happens to me. Like after a month of that, then I kind of want to smell a different style, please. There's something about it that comes off as almost green. There's just a tone of it. There's a green sheen over the whole rose, saffron, and nagarmotha harmony. And the green sheen over that fairly common set of notes makes it more special. It gives it a kind of freshness that makes me think of spas, especially in the air. So I'm not saying that it smells like a spa. I'm saying that there's a layer of a feeling of a spa over the more common saffron, rose, and ambers, really. It isn't harsh, nothing raspy here, it's very smooth. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spray some more and then I'll go back to this after 3 hours. It's been 4 hours and this fragrance, Ishq, has just been getting better and better. It's really the dry down that sets it apart from most other fragrances, even though it's kind of weird to say that it would be set apart, because something about Ishq is really, it really feels like a familiar song. I would often, in the last 4 hours, I would always get this feeling that I've smelled this before. But then when I think about it, there's nothing really that I could say it really does smell like. Now, first thing that I have to say is that I may have made it seem earlier in this video that it's a rose fragrance, but it's really not that. It's not a rose fragrance at all. In fact, one of the beauties of this fragrance is that it's really well blended. But if you if you make the effort to smell, to tell the notes apart, you would be able to. I was in fact shocked that, oh my god, I really smelled the carnation. And the carnation here, by the way, is because carnation has a spicy facet. It is also spicy, but it's not spicy in a warm way. I know that in Fragrantica, people are saying, not so much in the reviews, but in just the profile votation thing that they have there. People ranked warm spicy as a major part of the fragrance profile, but you know what? I don't think, and they also say it's leathery, but you know the truth, to my nose, it really is equally spicy, leathery, woody. And although it's not listed, there's vanilla in Ishq. But the vanilla in Ishq is not at all predominant either. In fact, there is sweetness in the base, but it's not, thank goodness, the off-putting sweetness that we've been getting from far too many fragrances recently. So this is really very well-balanced, smooth. I was saying that it feels like a familiar song, and it really does. I hesitate to say that you should hurry and sniff Ishq or blind buy it or something like that. I hesitate to say that because there's nothing about Ishq that is remarkably unique. It doesn't make me get off my seat and it's not like a shock. But in some ways, I could almost see how the perfumers may have been, or maybe Swiss Arabian, the company, the creative director of it, may have been thinking that it's kind of wrong. It's somewhat wrong to make a fragrance that you intend to call Ishq and then come up with something that is newfangled and trendy because it's love. And so, if something is called love, it almost wouldn't it I wonder, well, to me it does. It would feel wrong if what you came up with was some kind of new, experimental, incredibly unique fragrance. There's something about Ishq that is more classical. Classical in the sense of austere and undecorative. It's it's not really complicated. If you think of most fragrances that come out of the West, except the fragrances done by Jean-Claude Ellena, they always feel, and this is not a bad thing, they always feel like they're composed of so many different ingredients that add a layer of some kind of complication to the fragrances. Of course, at best, if everything balances anyway, then what you get is complexity. But more often than not, I really do get the sense of more often complicatedness rather than complexity. Ishq is simple, and it's not an easy kind of simplicity. It really is beautiful. After 4 hours, no, actually after about 3. After 3 hours, man. Now I hesitate to just say that, go blind buy it or move heaven and earth to sniff it, because if I said that, you might end up expecting that Ishq is a remarkably new thing. But in part, that is the mystery of Ishq, because it doesn't feel new at all, even though I'm pretty sure that I haven't quite smelled something that smells exactly like it. Sometimes Ishq reminds me of certain moments in the perfumery of Amouage. Like there are strands of Myths Man that play in. There's something about the dry down of Reflection 45 that kind of drift in and out. Also, Dolce & Gabbana's The One, because of the amber there. But Ishq really is doing its own thing. It's not terribly unique. It's not terribly new. It won't change your world, but it really is beautifully done. I should say, however, that perhaps it lacks tension. Ishq is an eau de parfum, but it really behaves like an extrait. And in part, that's what I like about it, because it's very full. There's a great fullness here, but that fullness is never loud. It's in fact very classy. You will get a scent cloud, but it's not assaulting in any way. So if you like fragrances that don't assault, I would say that you may have to try to sniff Ishq. Now, one important thing, I bought my bottle from a woman. It kind of makes sense that she would let Ishq go, because to me, it really leans masculine. In fact, once you get to the 3-hour dry down, I find it difficult to imagine a woman comfortably wearing Ishq. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, or I'm not saying that if you're a woman, you shouldn't try it, but it's really kind of like woody and leathery and slightly resinous and slightly warm spicy. So much so that I think that it really does lean more masculine. And so if a woman ends up reselling her bottle of it makes sense to me. Finally, and this is to take language somewhat slightly seriously, you have a fragrance called Ishq, which means love, and did it earn the name? Let me go to my checklist. 1. Will it alter when it alteration finds? I don't think it will. There is in fact something stolid about it. Stolid, confident, and sure-footed. Does it bend with the remover to remove? Only with great irony. Is it an ever-fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken? Not quite, but what is? Is it a star to every wandering bark? There's no such thing. Finally, is Ishq time's fool? Not at all. A fragrance like this is never going to be trendy. It's much too classical to become ever trendy. So, nope, it's not time's fool. In conclusion, I think Ishq is a beautiful fragrance. Is it special? Insofar as affordable fragrances very rarely have ingredients that are high quality, then yes, it is special in that sense. But again, it's like a familiar song. When you smell this, you're going to think that you've smelled it before, but then the more it develops on your skin, you're going to think, no, there's something there. There's something different and particularly well done and complex and full, and something that manages to refuse most cliches that fragrances are guilty of. Ishq is worth your time, but you have to give it time. Don't base your judgment of it on the first 2 hours. Wait until you get the full ride, the full 5-hour ride of it. I'm just at the 5th hour by now. It really does deepen. So, in conclusion, how would I put it? It's a must try. You'll be, I think, delighted. Again, don't expect something new. This is not a new concept, but it really is well done. And if this be error and upon me proved, then I never YouTubed, or no man ever loved.